So, over the weekend, the Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Odumosu, ordered the arrest of a private security guard at the Brooks Estate, Magodo area here in Isheri, because they denied him access into the Magodo Brooks Estate. He was at the entrance trying to gain access. I think he was going for an event or a function. And he came in, obviously, with his paraphernalia, the entire police crew, and the security guard at the gate asked him to call who they came to see. Of course, that infuriated him because he's Commissioner of Police, and he ordered their immediate arrest. Of course, the story went viral, and Sahara Reporter says he was power-drunk police. Different people use different terms to describe his act. What do you think? Was he power-drunk, or was it within his rights as the Commissioner of Police to gain access into anywhere he deems fit?
For me, I just thought good for them.
Good for who?
Good for the private security agents. Because I see these companies fly up every time and they don't do proper training for their people. Sometimes some people come, imagine somebody go with a court process. And we have to then go back and apply for an order to substitute that process because the estate is saying, call the person. The person we are trying to serve lives here, but he is avoiding the service. They will say, you are seeing the process, and you see a court belief, and you're stressing that person out. I don't understand the training. Why does somebody not tell them that this is a different thing? These are certain things that are legal, they are official, they are court orders. You say, no, go back. The person, court ordered somebody to have custody of her children. Estate security guard say, call the person. And the man says, I will not give you these children. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing in that process? You're aiding somebody abusing a court order. And we are showing you, you won't come. Now, the Commissioner of Police come. Let me read it to inside the story. He said, they say he came on reaching the gate. He was properly introduced. And notwithstanding that, the visible security details in his entire entourage, that's including a dispatch rider in his convoy, was prevented from entering the estate. What exactly remained?
The example you gave about the court order is so different from this one. And it's because our police officers are members of our, those in authority that are in uniform. They need to also understand that there are rules and regulations and laws of the land and things like that. And they must set an example. And that is why we remember during the Fashola government, you will not drive on BRT lane because you're a naval officer, a military man. You would leave the BRT lane for BRT buses. You were not allowed to just run your sirens just because you are in a military car or, So it's important that we also follow those rules and regulations because it allows for peace, it allows for a coordinated, more careful way that we live our lives. So there was nothing that would have been taken from him if they just called, followed the proper protocol for going into that estate. Nothing, but the fact that I've appeared in uniform, everything must stop. If he had come because it was an official, because they say he came for an event, he came to party. So that is different. Right. If he had come because you were doing police work, he had come to look at the Magodo incident that happened some weeks back. Who stood in their way? Because they came to do police work.
The Commissioner of Police for Lagos State being stopped at Magodo Brooks Estate was the right thing for Magodo Brooks to do. Everybody has resorted to certain security by themselves because the security architecture of this country failed us. To a large extent, there is a lot of complaints, and so we pay for our own security. I didn't grow up with everybody having their own fenced estates, paying security men. Some estates, you pay 3 security men before you see the person you want to see. Why? Because of the threats to the lives of individuals, because robberies take place, because of attacks. We had to now create a system to protect ourselves. We would have trusted the police and RRS at one junction would secure us. So this, for me, is a learning moment that what are we doing wrong? There are many security agencies that are just springing up and getting documented. All those security agencies are getting documented. What is the process? How are they integrated with the police force? Do they ever understand that these are the rules of the game? You cannot talk back to the Commissioner of Police. This is how you deal with one another.
Cannot.
You are not certified. Like, Is there a process of integration between private security and the official security of the state? This is a learning moment. It's not a raking moment. I have been to Magodo Brooks. I must make phone call before I go in. That is how a good system operates. I think that the commissioner needs to learn how this is how a good system operates. He might not like that he is on the receiving end. And we must teach our leaders that are powerful to also obey. I see a lot of law enforcement agents disobeying the law. It weakens your presence.
I like the part that you said this is a learning curve. I mean, it's something that we should all learn from but there's something called the chief security. So even you that you are the private, you got your license from me.
Yes.
I'm the one that gave you the license, right? Because now the guy might not know. That young man might not know. His Oga may know. So he was probably not trained that the person that is giving us the authority to be here is the commissioner of police, number one. That's number one. Number two, if you can do that to the commissioner of police, you can do that to the governor. You can do that to the president. Buhari can go to that gate and they say, sorry, call.
Why shouldn't our president call? Why shouldn't our president call if he's at the gate and they say the rule there is to call?
Let's read the complete report. It said, all appeals to the security men to allow the CP to go see someone at a function where an urgent matter bordering on security was to be discussed. Wait. I'm reading it.
How convenient.
Even when they had foreknowledge of his coming.
Foreknowledge. Okay.
Even when they had foreknowledge of his coming, and in spite of this deliberate humiliation, the senior police officer remained calm. And when it became obvious that the security men were going overboard, the CP, after 30 minutes of humiliation, ordered the arrest of 4 of them and left one to man the gate. Make we finish. Okay. You know what I have a problem, just as I had a problem with the police story I took in the Punch this morning. When a person is able to identify that they are on a duty, it exempts every law. A court order exempts every security company, whatever you have in front of any gate.